think about how would it feel if you were told you can never celebrate that holiday again? What would happen? In a school setting, oftentimes we have experiences where, because of religious beliefs, the children are no longer allowed to participate or have never been allowed to participate in certain activities. Like when I worked at an elementary school, every year we had a Halloween parade. And then certain kids couldn't participate because they had the word Halloween in it, and they didn't because it was against their belief system. Same as if you say, oh, we're going to have a Christmas party, and they had to self-exclude themselves from that. So think about it from that category as well. When we think through this, do we have anybody who, because that's not part of the American environment, they don't experience their personal beliefs or feel comfortable sharing it, so they have to almost leave it to the side other than maybe in their home? How did growing up and or where you grew up shape your view of the world? That's another good question. We've already talked about that earlier. How does your gender shape your goals in life? And who do you admire and why? What characteristics do they have? Those are all personal questions, right? Me personally, I admire my father a lot. My father worked and took care of our family. My mom stayed home. She didn't have to work. And my dad worked in construction, which means he worked very, very hard. And we were feast or famine. There were times when we had no food. I saw my family lose their home and cars and everything else, and there were other times when we had really nice stuff. One reason why I know Spanish the way I do is I studied it, but I learned a lot of it because of the people that I worked with, because I worked with my dad when I was younger. At 13, I was expected to have a job. I couldn't get my car, and I couldn't get my license until I bought my own car. I mean, it was that kind of stuff. My dad was just ingraining in us certain things, but one thing I'll tell you is, even when we were struggling with money, we never did without. And that was the culture that my dad created in the home, and he taught significantly to me what work ethic is. So that influenced what I think of in regards to who my hero is, or who I respect, and what I respect, because of the conversations that were always attached or aligned with what my dad would say and tell us, and hold us accountable for. Does that make sense? So, that, when you think about who you are and what you admire and why, that really has an impact on everything you do. And a lot of people we serve didn't have that kind of experience. So, I'm skipping through some of this because we already talked about it. One of the things that for you to know is I have a lot of slides based upon our conversations, and I skip through them if I think we've already gone through it. Okay, so I want you to think about this. On your piece of paper, answer these questions. I wear my hair the way I do because. In my family, children are expected to. I often feel uncomfortable around people who are. I'm proud to be. When I hear people speaking another language, I think they're. Once you think everyone in your group has written down the answer, discuss them in your group at your table. Okay? I'm going to change to the next page because there's 5 more. If people must choose between work and family, they should. What's your view? I really feel like an outsider when the most important thing in life is my ethnic or cultural heritage is special because, and I'm often attracted to people who, I'm going to go back to the first and then I'll change back to the second in a few minutes, okay? through 10. Okay, once you've answered those and you feel like your group has answered them, I want you to kind of discuss it. But also, before we go to break, because we're going to take a 5-minute break or a 10-minute break, depending on what you need, your table, each group needs to grab one piece of that sticky paper, and you as a group need to think about what have we learned and what have we discussed so far today. So
Are we
it's kind
going
of a,
back to our other tables?
yes,
Oh.
back to your home, or you can stay where you are, it doesn't matter.
Oh.
You look comfy right there, so you're good.
Well, I didn't move,
No,
so.
no wonder why you're
I've seen for other
comfy.
tables.
So, when you finish and after you've discussed some of this, then I'd like you and your group to get a piece of paper and I want you to write on there what you think you've learned or what was an affirmation or whatever as a group on a poster. Okay? I have some markers here, if you want them. So everybody needs a paper, and you guys work as a group to discuss what you've learned so far.
Because I'm
6 short. So, when you guys get together as a group, any ahas or anything you've had so far?
I was sitting over there, and I was.
2 days, Monday, Tuesday, 10, 11.
Yeah, that's pretty typical.
8. Today's schedule.
I only saw 6.
We're not getting more than 4.
5 was my limit, but I did 6 on Monday, and it was okay.
In a row?
In a row. I didn't do it in a row. That's as many as I've done 7 in a row. I've scheduled 8 in a row.
That's a lot.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I can take 4 in a row.
Yeah.
After
No,
K, I think
5 is comfortable for me.
That's what I want to be. I start to get tired. And then I'll notice I'll start to come.
All you have to do
Only 3 more.
is schedule 6 or 7 or 8 one day, and I don't
And then I feel like.
That's what I do. On the weeks when I my preference is 5.
I got 1 day.
I always just leave a city, but it's for me too.